किशोर मानस देह गेह जो किछु मोर अर्पिलु तुआ पदे नंद किशोर अर्पिलु तुआ पदे नंद किशोर संपदे विपदे जीवने मरणे संपदे दाय मम गेला तुआ पद वरणे दाय मम गेला तुआ पद वरणे मारो भी राखो भी जो इच्छा तुम्हारा मारो भी राखो भी नित्य दास प्रति तुआ अधिकार नित्य दास जन्मय विमोय इच्छा जदि तोरा जन्मय विमोय इच्छा जदि तोरा भक्त गृहे जानी जन्म हौ मोर भक्त जानी जन्म हौ मोर कीट जन्म हौ जथा तुआ दास कीट जन्म हौ जथा तुआ दास बहिर्मुख ब्रह्मा जन्मे नाही आशा बहिर्मुख ब्रह्मा जन्मे नाही आशा भुक्ति मुक्ति स्पृहा विहीन जे भक्त भुक्ति मुक्ति स्पृहा विहीन जे भक्त लभैते तांको संग अनुरक्त लभैते तांको संग अनुरक्त जनक जननी दयित तनया जनक जननी दयित तनया प्रभु गुरुपति तुहु सर्वमया प्रभु गुरुपति तुहु सर्वमया भक्ति विनोद कहे सुन काना भक्ति विनोद कहे सुन काना राधा नाथ तू हमारा प्राण राधा नाथ तू हमारा प्राण मानस देह गेह जो किछु मोरा मानस देह गेह जो किछु मोरा अर्पिलु तुआ पदे नंद किशोरा अर्पिलु हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Vrindavana Dham, Krishna. Jaya Lalita Visakha, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Lalita Visakha, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Lalita. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Guru. नित्यलीला प्रविष्टा जयं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। स्वरूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ षड़ गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। श्री श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। श्री श्री अयोध्या धाम की जय। श्री श्री बद्रिका धाम की जय। जय श्री श्री कृष्ण भक्ति पदायिनी श्री श्री वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री श्री गंगा मैया जमुना मैया की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। उपस्थित समस्त भक्त वृंद की जय। जुगधर्म श्री श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड गौरांग श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण। सो first of all, I am seeking the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavis who are probably listening online and also who are present here. So please bless me so that I can say something, whatever I have understood and whatever I have read, whatever I have heard from my superiors and Srila Prabhupada, so that I myself will get purified, my words will also get purified, and all of you please also bless me so that whatever I say, it will be helpful for you in your devotional practice as a sadhaka. And above and overall, it should be, it will be very pleasant for the divine lordships. So with your blessings, I will, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So the point is like, suddenly today morning Dharmata Prabhu came and he said, you have to give a class. I said, which class you are talking about? The other things, because I need some time. And you are telling me in the almost nearly 5:30 or maybe a little before that, before the announcement. So I was very panic. So as you know, my services here are very fixed and could not prepare well. So any corrections, any modifications, Prabhuji is there. So all the great Vaishnavas. So please correct me and please give your valid comments as well. So let us see why I have chosen this. You must be a little surprised why he didn't sing Jai Radha Madhav. So I thought anyway, myself at least, I am so fallen. So by singing this great song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So I am just reading the translation. Mind, body and family, whatever may be mine, I have surrendered at your lotus feet, O youthful son of Nanda. It is from Saranagati. So many prayers. All of us should meditate on these prayers because today's sloka is little related to this contemplation. So in good fortune or bad, in life or death, all my difficulties have disappeared because I have chosen those lotus feet of yours as my only shelter. So this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's very strong statement. So this will be discussing how this lotus feet of the Lord, it is our life and soul for us. So slay me or protect me as you wish, for you are the master of your eternal servant. Just like we sing Asli Seva Padaratam, that Sikshastakam. So we are completely dependent on Kṛṣṇa. Whatever he does is good for us. So if it is your will that I will be burning, and this is a very high prayer, high level prayer, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling, if you think I am unfortunate enough to be burned again, but at least please arrange in such a way I will be burned in a devotee's house. That is the home of a devotee, your devotee. So may I be burned again, even as a worm. This is still higher. Many of us, we don't know what is your future life because anytime Maya may disturb us. So long as I remain your devotee, just like Bharat Maharaj, even in a deer's body he was remembering, Lord. So I have no desire to be burned as Brahma, averse to you. So just like Kuntī Maharani says, If somebody, I get whatever devotion to you, that's why I am attached to you. Even my children, because they are your devotees, so I have little affection for them. Otherwise, so similar things Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing. So I yearn for the company of that devotee. It is still more practical for us, who is completely devoid of all desires. So we will discuss about the desires today, for worldly enjoyment or liberation. No bhukti mukti, nothing. So father, mother, lover, son, lord, preceptor and husband, you are everything for me. So this we see, and Kṛṣṇa is everything for us. Sant Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, O Kana is a nickname of Kṛṣṇa. Please hear me, O Lord of Radha, you are my life and soul. Very nice song. So I thought with this mood, it helps us to develop the mood of surrender. Because before starting the sloka, I thought it will help to develop that consciousness, mood of surrender. So I have been asked to discuss on the Bhagavad Gita, chapters 2, the verse number is 60. Yatataḥ hi api kaunteya puruṣasya vipaścitaḥ indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ yatato api kaunteya puruṣasya vipaścitaḥ indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ yatato api kaunteya puruṣasya vipaścitaḥ indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ yatato api kaunteya puruṣasya vipaścitaḥ indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ. Please repeat. Yatato api kaunteya puruṣasya vipaścitaḥ indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ. Yatato api kaunteya puruṣasya vipaṣritaḥ indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ. Yatato api kaunteya puruṣasya vipaṣritaḥ indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ. Yatato api kaunteya puruṣasya vipaṣritaḥ indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ. Mataji, anybody would like? Okay. So, this is now what word meanings. Yatataḥ, while endeavoring. He, certainly. Api, in spite of. Kaunteya, O son of Kuntī. Puruṣasya, of a man. Vipaścitaḥ, full of discriminating knowledge. Indriyāṇi, the senses. Pramāthīni, agitating. Haranti, throw. Prasabhaṁ, by force. Manaḥ, the mind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki. The senses are so strong and impetuous impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination, who is endeavoring to control them. Purport. There are many learned sages, philosophers, transcendentalists, who try to conquer the senses, but in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim to material sense enjoyment due to the agitated mind. Even Viśvāmitra, a great sage and perfect yogī, was misled by Menakā into sex enjoyment, although the yogī was endeavoring for sense control with severe type of penance and yoga practice. And of course, there are so many similar instances in the history of the world. Therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Kṛṣṇa conscious. Without engaging the mind in Kṛṣṇa, one cannot seize such material engagements. A practical example is given by Śrī Yāmunācārya, a great saint and devotee, who says, Jadavadhi mama citta Kṛṣṇa padarabinde nava nava rasa dhamnya udyatam rantum asid tad abadhi vatanari sangame smarayam mane bhavati mukha vikaraha susthu nisthivanam cha. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it, and I spite at the thought. Kṛṣṇa consciousness is such a transcendentally nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. It is as if a hungry man has satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. Maharaj Ambarisha was conquered by a great yogi, Durvasa Muni, simply because his mind was engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Sabai manaḥ Kṛṣṇa padaravindaya bhajam sivaikuntha gunanuvarnane. Om ajnānatimirandhasya jnānanjanasalakaya chakshurunmilitam jena tasmai Śrī Gurave namaha. Śrī Chaitanya manobhishtam sthapitam jena bhūtale swayam rūpaha kada mahyam dadati sopadantikam. Vandeham Śrī Guru Śrī Utapadakamalaṁ Śrī Gurun Vaishnavamsya Śrī Rūpam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Śrī Radha Kṛṣṇa Padan Sahagana Lalita Śrī Viṣākhanvitamsya. He Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prasabhaṁ Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jayatam Surato Pangurma Mandamatirgati Matsarvasya Padam Bhujo Radha Madana Mohano. Namo Mahavadanyaya Kṛṣṇa Prema Pradayate Kṛṣṇāya Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Namne Gaurataci Namaha. Jai Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Śrī Bhāsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vācālam pangam langhayate girim jatkupātamah vande Śrī Guru Dinatarinam Śrī Paramananda Madhavam Śrī Chaitanya Ishwaram. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nashtaprayesu abhadresu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatiruttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naisthiki. Once again, before starting this topic, I will again seek your compassion and mercy on this fallen soul. So, all of you have been hearing for last couple of days on this second chapter, that is a summary of the Bhagavad Gita summarized. Okay, so in that different sections you have been hearing. So currently, what is the topic we are discussing? What are the sthita prajna symptoms? How the Arjuna asked a very important question in verse number 54, second chapter, 54 onwards till 72. Whole thing is based on sthita prajna, and out of that also the first he asked what are the general symptoms, how the sthita prajna sits, how he speaks, how he sits, how he walks. So all those 4 questions was asked. So with that, and this particular sloka, I'm coming to this because this actually says the person, what is a sthita prajna? Definition he gives in the 55th. Next verse, he defines sthita prajna, who has controlled his mind, his senses, and is a pure Kṛṣṇa consciousness. That is, and this also says what is the way how one can become. Sthita prajna means he is mumukshu, muktikami. Muktikami means he is in the path of liberation. And also, at this particular sloka, it tells how the kim asita. In one question, Arjuna was asking, kim asita means how a person in fixed Kṛṣṇa consciousness, whose intelligence and mind is fixed on Kṛṣṇa, on you, how he can prevent the sense and the sense objects. See, we know the sense and sense objects, they are eternally connected and they cannot be separated. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that practically they cannot be separated. Because as we know, all of you know in the Upanishad, the mind is the center of all the senses. All the 5 senses are arranged around the mind, and each sense is connected to its corresponding sense objects. So what the sense object does, it is so powerful. The sense objects will drag the senses. We say, Mahaprasade Govinde, Jodendriyo Tahikal. So the senses are so strong. Here Kṛṣṇa says they are very restless, obstinate, and especially he used this word, they are usually prone to get agitated very easily. So like that, so we know when the sense objects, they drag the senses towards them, it's natural. And then what it does, the mind also, which is connected to all the senses, it also get agitated. So then the mind also goes to the sense object. That is how the mechanism of this sense mind and the sense object that works. So here we see in this 56th verse, 56, 57, 58. You have been hearing. So 56, here Kṛṣṇa says, in the duality of situation, and this sthita prajna, this person with fixed intelligence, he never get bewildered. He tolerates the situation, and he is equanimity. He maintains the platform of equanimity. So that is how the 55th verse it says, and then 56, and then 57. Also Kṛṣṇa says he is not affected in the duality, that is 57. And then 58, he gives the nice analogy. All of you must have understood the tortoise, how in the negative situation, when the temptation is there, so the tortoise, what it does is it draws all the 4 limbs inside the cell. So that nice analogy Kṛṣṇa gives to the sadhakas like us, because all of us are practicing Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So we are facing every day various challenges in forms of temptations, various, especially because of the past conditioning with when we have done so many activities knowingly or unknowingly in our previous lives. It has been stored as a svabhava, impressions. So that svabhava forces the soul to act in a particular way. So that is very difficult to overcome. So let us see what Kṛṣṇa gives the solution for that. So Kṛṣṇa says in the next verse, so that means, that analogy means the senses can be withdrawn from the sense of it. It is not impossible. It may be difficult, but it is possible. So then in 59th verse, yesterday's verse, you have heard, very nice is rasa varjam rasa apayasya param drishtva nivartate. Very, very important. It is very famous. Prabhupada quotes it many times. Param drishtva nivartate means, unless one develops a higher taste for this Kṛṣṇa conscious activities, devotional service, it is not possible for somebody to separate the senses from the sense objects. It is very difficult. So based on that, today's verse is continuation. Yatato hiya api. Api means here means suddenly. One means one does all with great endeavor. One tries. Kaunteya means here Arjuna. Puruṣasya means the man. Vipaścitaḥ, this word is very significant. Vipaścitaḥ means a man with great intelligence, a jnani basically. And this particular sloka, if you see, Kṛṣṇa is proving the superiority of bhakti yoga over jnana yoga. Okay, in the previous sloka, this is first time Kṛṣṇa is going to introduce in the next sloka, that is 61 sloka, that I am the object, I am the goal of your life. Then he is going to tell. So let us see. Indriyāṇi means the senses. Pramāthīni means they are very obstinate and they are very restless. And then haranti means that it drags, and prasabhaṁ manaḥ. So the mind is dragged by the same. Very simple to understand this sloka. So unless one develops the higher taste, as per the previous sloka, what are the consequences? Kṛṣṇa is explaining in the next 4 slokas, 60, 61, 62 and 63. So today's sloka, we are starting with that. If one fails to develop that higher taste, many of us are practicing Kṛṣṇa consciousness, but we see not that all the time we have that taste, because the past severe conditioning, many of us get also, not all of us, but sometimes, or maybe it depends, we get victimized by the past thoughts. Prabhupada says a very nice quotation. Prabhupada says, don't get disturbed by the thoughts. Thoughts is going to come, because in the current world, we see everything is a mode of passion, and ignorance is increasing day by day with the modern social media and electronics gadgets. It is impossible to separate the sense objects, because we are dependent on cell phone and other things. So this is a very practical way to think that, of course, those thoughts will come. Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy. Prabhupada says, when we go to a pond, we see it, sometimes a bubble, suddenly it will come, all at a sudden, and it will come out of the surface. So similarly, in the mind, so many things are stored. So obviously, there is a possibility then when the temptation situation comes, we are like in the temple, whether we are in any ashram, brahmacharya ashram, vanaprastha ashram, sannyasa ashram, grahastha ashram. So all 4. There is a restriction. Prabhupada says that the main goal is sense control. The first thing is sense control. And then unless senses are controlled, then mind cannot be controlled, then everything. Then the next verse, Kṛṣṇa says, how to achieve that goal. How to achieve that goal is by higher taste we have. But higher taste, not that everybody will have that. So unless one has the higher taste, what happens? The mind is very weak and senses are strong, and the focus is not on Kṛṣṇa. So all 3 together, it combines and it drags the mind. So the sadhaka, he has to apply, the beginning point is to focus on Kṛṣṇa, fix the mind and intelligence on Kṛṣṇa. That's how he tells in the next sloka. And then the 62nd and 63rd sloka says the fall down, the 8 stages of fall down, which you will be hearing. Dhyatan viśvāṃ punsa sangat kama abhijayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodha abhijayate krodat bhavati samma sammat smriti vibhram sriti bhansat buddhinasat pranasate. This is a very famous sloka Prabhupada quotes. So these are how the first thing is sense objects. When we see, there is contemplation. Very nicely, Tamal Kṛṣṇa Goswami gives a very good practical way. He says, there is practically no problem with the sense and sense object. That is naturally designed by Kṛṣṇa. But we put our wicked mentality. This is the problem. The mentality we put, that is why the chain reaction it starts. How it starts? As I said, the sense objects will drag the mind, and mind will start on contemplating, and contemplation means thinking. So it gives some superficial pleasure, because the past conditioning, we get some happiness, so we like to continue. This is where we have to arrest. Otherwise, you are going to hear this in the subsequent classes, that unless we arrest at the thought level, thinking level, it is impossible, because the senses have already been start working and will commit the offense by sin, by doing the action. So the Prabhupada says, at least as a sadhaka, Prabhupada gives this because foreign countries, most of the Westerners are addicted to this sense gratification. So he says very practical way, at least don't bring it into action. Let the thought come. Let the thought come. Don't get, of course we will get agitated. That thought, I will think, oh, our sadhana is getting affected, oh, I am not doing well, oh, those thoughts are coming, what useless thought, I am doing offense, nama aparad, I am doing, so maybe I have done some Vaishnava aparad. So like that the chain reaction starts. Still Prabhupada says, be fixed. He gives practical instruction to his disciples. Never ever give up the process. Even though you are falling repeatedly, always have the hope that Kṛṣṇa is so powerful, he can overcome, he can help me, he has sent all the arrangements. Always try to be grateful in all the situations and see the hand of Kṛṣṇa. So still, if nothing works, go to your spiritual master and ask. Be honest, the spiritual, I am unable to control my senses. Maybe he will tell, change the ashram or something. Even in Grahastha ashram, the challenges are not so easy. Even in Grahastha ashram also, the first thing Prabhupada says, Kṛṣṇa says, three things. Self-control is the first. Then charity and then sacrifice. But self-control means again the same thing. It's a practical the same thing. He is a Grahastha also, brahmacharis, Grahastha also sannyasis who are following this. So this is a very, very practical way. So Kṛṣṇa is telling Arjuna, see, don't think you are telling you will not fight. That's how it started, all these things. Arjuna refused to fight. Kṛṣṇa said, your svabhava, your nature will drag you to fight. And why you are denying to fight? So then he says, better you engage your senses in doing message. So Narad Muni says the same definition, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratya Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruttama. So which is Bhakti, Narad Muni gives the definition, it's mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also. So there is a Rishikena Rishikesha. So engage the senses. See, when engage the senses means Kṛṣṇa will not accept any service by a contaminated senses. It has to be purified first. So by just engaging the senses, even though we fall down many times, so doesn't matter, we continue with. So then we need some enthusiasm. Some person has to be there to encourage us. That is how we can face this. But many times we become overconfident. This is a problem. So we should know our boundary. Up to what limit I can go. If you go beyond the boundary, then it will be very difficult. So mostly we get also victimized. So like we go for preaching, we go for any services we do, we deal with the opposite gender. So there the chances of is there. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given a very strong guiding. And there is a very nice statement by Jagadananda Pandit. It is mentioned in one of these books. It is Prema Vaibharta. He writes that Sopane O na karabhi stri sambhasana gruhe stri chhadiya bhai asya chhe bano. It's very nice. Chaitanya Charitamrita is mentioned Madhya Lila that we have left the house, we have left the association of family members, wife and children, but now even in our dreams we should not see any women's form. So strict Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the next verse he says, if you have any queries about it, please remember the life history of Chota Haridas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so strict. He just looked at that elderly Mataji. Then with that Mahaprabhu said, don't show my face. And he committed suicide in that you all know better. So it is very difficult to, because see the point is like senses are easy to get engaged. Then the mind is so restless. So there are two ways of it. So we have to sharpen our intelligence. And who will give the intelligence? Paramatma. So only once we start serving Kṛṣṇa, so automatically Paramatma will give the indication. So with the strength of the instructions of the Paramatma, that is super soul, then we can follow the path, and then our intelligence is sharpened. The intelligence is sharpened, and it is mentioned in the 3rd chapter, 37th verse also, the lust. So, how to control it? Kṛṣṇa says by the spiritual intelligence. And that is the only way. It is the eternal enemy, Nitya Vairi. Kṛṣṇa says it destroys the spiritual life like anything. So we lose all the determination, everything. It goes in the vicious cycle. So like they fall down. This starts from yatato. So that contemplation point we have to, so what to do then? Contemplation point means we have to forcibly, the mind is dragged forcibly, it is said. So we have to put Kṛṣṇa Katha, the thoughts of Kṛṣṇa, in the mind, then only it will be controlled, otherwise not. Only Kṛṣṇa can control this. So we see, just like Prabhupada mentioned in the Purport, Viśvāmitra Muni, why he fell down? Viśvāmitra Muni, he was so austere, 60,000 years, he was a king earlier, then he became a Rajarshi, then a Maharshi, but he wanted to be a Brahmarshi. So then while he was doing tapasya, so because he was artificially trying to control it. This is what, and he didn't have a higher taste. That is the main thing. Because he never engaged his senses in devotional activities. Simply by closing the eyes and meditating, that is what, like 3 kinds of people are there. One is vikarmi, karmi, and yogis. These 3, so vikarmi is out of question. Now, many of us who we do forbidden activities, there is no excuse. We have to get the reaction for that. But karmi is a little better, but they have a very strong tendency for sense enjoyment. So based on the Vedas and Karma Kandi and all, they go for sense enjoyment. But ultimately, they have to be also trained. They don't know the consequence. Like so many of us, including myself, we are in Grihastha ashram once upon a time. Then we see the consequences are so severe. Just for few minutes of sense enjoyment, so much burden we have to take. And what is the Prabhupada says, there is no ideal Grihastha. It is very difficult to get an ideal grihastha. Though in Kali Yuga, brahmacharya, this brahmachari, sannyasi are difficult to observe, this vow. But even then, as an ideal grihastha also is still more difficult. Prabhupada says, I am not saying. So this is the thing, because we will be always surrounded by the sense objects. There is a impetus for the sense enjoyment. And then we always forget what instruction is given by spiritual master. How many grihasthas are taking permission from the spiritual master before, planning. So this is why in grihastha life, many we see, they don't tell usually. If we ask them, or some of them are a bit honest, they say grihastha life is really tough to control the senses. Of course, in our temple we have very exalted grihasthas. I know many of them. They are practicing nicely Kṛṣṇa consciousness, but not all. Majority are into the karmi group. But the yogis also, they meditate. They try to, see, this is what Viśvāmitra was doing. So because he was lacking the higher taste, so he fell victim to Menakā. And the second time also, Indra sent Rambha. He did another 1000 years tapasya. And then Rambha came, but this time Viśvāmitra was on guard. Because he has realized. So the whole idea I am talking is about this word, vipaścitaḥ. One may be very learned, very, very intelligent, but the jnana, the knowledge is not reliable. The correct word is reliability. It may fail, it may be missing. Though it is fixed, one may be very advanced. This is why particularly Kṛṣṇa is indicating Arjuna, even the most learned people, their senses are also carried away. Just like Narad Muni. And of course, Narad Muni is a pure devotee. He was also victimized by Maya Devi. So in scriptures we see many people, they fell down from the stage of Jnana Yoga. So that's why Bhakti Yoga Kṛṣṇa is recommending. In the next sloka Kṛṣṇa will tell that. So but on the contrary, we see Yāmunācārya. How Yāmunācārya, he was a king, he had so many queens, he was enjoying all this sort of material, but when he practiced seriously, we have to be serious and sincere. These 2 words Rupa Goswami says. So with these 2 endeavors, then what we can do, we can get the higher taste gradually. So when he got the higher taste, like we see so many different festivals, we observe every day the deities are decorated in a different dress, it's so attractive, just like Amrish Maharaj. Yāmunācārya is one extreme, and Amrish Maharaj also. What he used to do? He used to Kṛṣṇa, Savai Kṛṣṇa mana padaravinda. See, always his mind is to focus on the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. Rupa Goswami confirms this in Bhakti, in Nectar of Instruction, in the first verse itself. How to control the mind? He says, mind has two functions. One is avirodha priti. Avirodha priti means it has attachment. That is like the karmis and gyanis. They have so many plans. They keep on planning, I'll do this, that. When nothing happens, they get frustrated, and then krodha comes. Then they lead to virodha yukta krodha. So these are the two circles, the mind circulates among this. So obviously one has to remember Kṛṣṇa, and how the practical guidelines Prabhupada says, the deities are so beautiful in our temple and any ISKCON temple. We should at least spend at least half an hour, 45 minutes to see the deities. And the whole day, we can at least while chanting or while when difficulties are, at least we close our eyes, or in our mind also we can remember the deities. They are not different from Kṛṣṇa. And so this is a very practical way. Prabhupada said, Mana Kṛṣṇa padaravinda. So the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, it has so much power. In many places it is told how much power is the lotus. So I am mentioning, I will just read the what Amrish Maharaj says in the 9th canto. It is going on in the Hindi section. Savai mana Kṛṣṇa padaravinda vacham Vaikuntha gunanu varnane karo harer mandira marjanadisu srutim chakaracyuta sat kathodyate. Maharaj Amrish always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. Prabhupada says the lotus feet should be seen first, and then gradually must go up. So that is how. And his words are describing the glories of the Lord, like we are talking. And his hands was cleaning the temple, and ears was hearing the words spoken by Kṛṣṇa or about Kṛṣṇa. Then Mukunda lingalaya darsane drasau tadbhrutya gatra sparshe anga sangamam Ghranam cha tatpada saroja surabhe Srimattulasya rasanam tad arpite. Maharaj Amrish engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Kṛṣṇa. That's what I was mentioning. So in Rupa Goswami also mentions those fortunate souls who have really, Kṛṣṇa has revealed his real beauty to those souls. They will never get attracted to the opposite gender. He says just like they will practically see as a corpus, dead body, you know. So that beauty we should, that's why Prabhupada says in the 1865, so always concentrate on the Syam Sundar form of Kṛṣṇa. Our temple we have Syam Sundar, so beautiful, 11 years, you know. So that Syam Sundar form we have to contemplate all the time. So that is how the eyes will get satisfied, and we lose the interest to see the beauty of the material world or any other person. And then Kṛṣṇa, not only the deities, but the temple, the dham, the various lila places, all the devotees, so many wonderful, we have so many temples, 5,000 plus temples are there. And here says Kṛṣṇa's places like Mathura and Vrindavan, he engaged his senses in touching the body of the Lord's devotees. Even most of the pujaris, they have the opportunity. Many of us don't get the opportunity to touch the lotus feet of the Lord. That is also very part of the 64 items of devotional service. But at the same time, if we get plenty of opportunity, we are getting to touch the dust of the, to take the dust from the body, lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. We many times commit a offense by directly touching the lotus feet. No need. Once they pass away, we can take the dust and put it. It's as good as putting the dust, because the three things, that is the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava and his remnants and his water, Charnamrit. So these things will increase the strength of devotion. So, and also many times, many places like Bharat Maharaj, Upakhyan in Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, and also in the Prahlad Maharaj, 7th canto, it is saying, unless one apply the dust from the lotus feet of a Vaishnava through all over the body, he can never attain the pure devotional service. So it is very essential. We are paying obeisances. So we have to always feel encouraged. So we are getting these opportunities. Just contemplate on this. So this is what Kṛṣṇa remembrance is. So he engaged his senses of smell in fragrance of tulsi and flowers, where Nrsimhadev's and the oil, same thing. And he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasadam. Pado harer kshetra padanusarpane Śrī Hrishikesa padabhivandane kamam ca dasyena tu kamakamyaya jathottama sloka janardhanasya rati. Maharaj Ambrish engaged his legs in walking the holy place. That's why we do parikrama. And earlier days people used to walk. But nowadays we are dependent on vehicles. Doesn't matter. At least some distance we can do parikrama every day. And the head, when we bow down, the same thing. Just we have to read these slokas again and again, and that will invoke the dormant Krishna consciousness. So serving the Lord 24 hours. This is a very important principle. Many of the brahmacharis, I am also staying. I see how many hours we'll chant? 2.5 hours. Maximum 2.5 hours. And then Shastra study maybe 1 or 2 hours, maybe 3-4 hours. But rest of the time, if we don't engage, definitely the mobile phone is there, always with us. So that is the direct attack of Maya. So that's why that 24 hours engagement is required. Unless it is 24 hours, where any time we can get victimized. So that's why Prabhupada used to engage 6 to 8 hours seva. And nowadays, many of us, including myself, we just read and give lectures. That is not enough. That is why that vipaścitaḥ, one may be intelligent, but unless one is acting practically, he will not be saved. Like we see Viśvāmitra's case. So he engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase our attachment. So to detach from the matter and attach to the, so they are called vipaścitaḥ. They are so expert, they very well know what is matter, what is spirit. Even we lack that. But simply by practicing devotional service, we surpass that level. And next, Ambrish Maharaj was telling, be completely free from material desires. Very, very important sloka. And then regarding the sense objects, also in the same 9th canto, Jajati gives a very nice realization. Matra swastra druhitra va, mother, swastra means sister, druhita means daughter. Even with them, what carefulness we should follow. Na vivikta sano bhavet, balvan indriya gramo, vidvam sapi karsat. They exactly support this. So he had a realization with Devani. So both of them, they sat after they enjoyed. He borrowed the youth from his youngest son. Still he didn't get satisfaction. We see devotee Upakshan also. For 1,000 autumns, devotee, Mother Devotee and Kardamuni, they enjoyed. But still, then suddenly she had a realization. I have wasted these 1,000 years. Where from I'll get it? I didn't do the service at the lotus feet of the Lord. So like that, in Bhagavatam, so many slokas are there. Prahlad Maharaj, Punah Charvita Charvanana. He says in a negative way, the same thing we keep on doing. So that is everywhere we see the sense enjoyment is condemned. And here he says, one should not allow oneself to sit on the same seat even with one's mother, sister, daughter, or because the senses are so strong that even though one is very advanced in knowledge, one may be attracted by sex desire. So like that, there are so many things to say. Time is not there. So, so the main point is the surrender. Unless we surrender fully, then all these things will not work. So what is surrender? Prabhupada gives in his lecture, Prabhupada is telling, we have to dovetail our consciousness with Krishna. That is the surest way. Means all the activities, all the thoughts will be in relation to the Krishna. Nirbandhe Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyate. So that is how Rupa Goswami teaches us. Whatever in relation to Krishna, we should utilize for the service. So that is why, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela also, in Upadeshamutta it is mentioned, nectar of instruction. He says, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hai Andhakar, Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Ra Adhikar. So once we are attached to Krishna, the mind and the senses, so there is no question of Maya acting upon us. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he also analyzed on this. He also gives on his statement. In Nectar of Instruction itself, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, the body, mind and the tongue, it has to undergo severe austerity. Tapo Divyam Putrakadena, which is told by Rushabdev in the teachings of Lord Rushabdev. So we have to do Divya Tapasya. We have to forcibly this body, mind and the tongue. So all these things Rupa Goswami tells, out of which the tongue is the most voracious. So the best way for us is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. That is why we see Haridas Thakur, he was not affected by this. He was in fact in a much difficult condition. Mayadevi Swayam herself came, and also Lakshahira. Just imagine a youth boy. So that is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is proving that you don't have to bother about so many jnana, so many shastras, just chant attentively. So that is how we have to seek the mercy of Haridas Thakur and all the previous acharyas, so that we can chant at least attentively. That is the best and easiest way. So many of us don't follow. So after this class, at least myself, I will be very careful to do my, at least I can say today's morning I did very nice attentive chanting. Then I could feel those negative things will be there around. We cannot change the world. So Kṛṣṇa will give the inner strength. This is the main thing. Kṛṣṇa will give the inner strength to face these tempting situations. We cannot change so many, people, the materialistic people. They are 99.9%. We are very insignificant. How can we change them? So at least we can pray every day through our chanting and do early morning chanting, so that we can purify our mind and we can get the inner strength to face these challenges and tempting conditions, and not to be overconfident, because we should know our boundary, up to what limit we should go, and then always remain in our boundary. So, and also intelligence, that's what I said. So, and we should be always vigilant. We should be vigilant, always be suspicious. Today's protection doesn't mean we'll be protected tomorrow. We think, oh, today my sadhana went well, tomorrow nothing is going to happen. No. I have seen myself, whenever I do that, the next day, the mind gets agitated. So, especially the cell phone and all, we have to be careful, because that attachment is very difficult to root out. It's a very deeper attachments develop. So, and we should not think that any situation you go through, it is negotiable. Many times we take it granted. Then when the situation, we make it negotiable, and then we get negotiated by the situation. I hope you got my point. So we should always discriminate. What is my... there are some situations which are non-negotiable. And the last thing I want to tell you is what is the solution then? So Kṛṣṇa says, reject. Whenever those contemplation comes, immediately you have to reject and put my thing. Many times we see it is not possible also. Like whenever we are alone, that's why brahmacharis and sannyasis should not stay alone. They should have some person with them. Sannyasis should have an assistant, and brahmacharis should not allow in one room, especially all the electronic gadgets. Even mind itself, why do you speak of electronic gadget? So by feeling the Kṛṣṇa thoughts, Kṛṣṇa kathas, every day is an opportunity for us to get more and more. Like I see so many devotees, they very regularly they attend classes, they hear the greed. Whatever we have to pray for Krishna, give the laulyam. Rupa Goswami says, the only thing we have to purchase is the laulyam. More Krishna katha, more hearing, chanting, the same thing. But then the element, we have to eliminate the thoughts. Don't bring the thoughts into action level. Then we are doomed. Nothing can be done. All the senses will act and will immediately fall down. So the deeper inner strength we get from the chanting and by remembering Kṛṣṇa, and be always determined to never give up this process. It may take time, because Kṛṣṇa has his own plan. For every soul he has a different plan. So we should be always hopeful, never give hope, and it can be only possible in association of pure devotee. If we have any, always consult the superiors, and spiritual master is accessible. Many times you don't, we feel shy. We think we'll get chastised by the spiritual master. Why? How can I disclose? But I see many sannyasis, those who are practicing now, they used to tell openly to their spiritual master, this is what I have done. Then you are qualified to become a brahmachari or sannyasi. So anyway, I have crossed my time. Please forgive me. I don't think I have prepared that well, but hopefully it made some practical points that how to face the tempting situations, how to, it's a simple thing, but we should not be very proud of our knowledge. Realizations are lacking in us. So it comes by hearing practically. In third canto we see Kapil Dev also teaches, repeatedly he persists on hearing from a realized soul and do some services for the years. So like that, even though those negative these things are happening, we should not get disheartened. Many people, they leave the temple and go away. Always should report to the authority and take help of them. Like we have so many wonderful presidents here, so many senior Prabhupada disciples. So they always console us. Oh, this happens in the modern era. We have co-education system. We have so many practical difficulties. So they will always guide us. But regularly following the morning program, I see those who are doing it in the temple, I have seen, they will never get affected. They are fixed up, I have seen. So this is what we have to pray. With this I conclude this today's talk. So any corrections, please make. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki उपस्थित समस्त भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।